Alright, my topic for today is psychology in daily life, and I'm going to try to make this session as interactive as possible. So, whenever you want to say something, you can say it in the comment section below. Is my voice clear? So, let's start. Uh, so, Hi, I am Anushree. I am studying in Ferguson College. I am in my second year of MA in clinical psychology. My first introduction to psychology was in 11th standard. After 10th standard, I had taken up arts, so that was the first time that I was getting introduced to this subject. And back then, it was just one of the 6 subjects that I was studying. And then in my BA, I took psychology as my major. So here I started to get to know more and more about the subject. I started reading a little bit more than I was in 11th and 12th standard. And this is how I realized that psychology is literally a very, very integral part of our day-to-day life. In 10th standard, I had a perception of psychology that it had to deal with mental illness, brain studies, intelligence tests, and aptitude tests. So, what do you people who don't know psychology, what do you think psychology entails in general? I will give you a few examples. So, psychology can tell you why, when we have meticulously planned schedules, they don't work out. Psychology can tell you that how do we make the choice between having to go to a wedding or having to or to go to a birthday party. Psychology can tell you why we decide to buy certain products that we choose. I'm sorry. Psychology can tell us what makes us happy, what makes relationships last, and it can also tell us that, let's say, if we are working in groups, there are some people who work and there are some people who don't work. Now, as many of you have said in the comments, that psychology does deal with the study of human behavior, emotion, and cognition, that is, your thinking. But as we are doing all the activities in our day-to-day lives, there is not a single moment where we are not thinking, not doing something, that is behaving, or not feeling something. So in a way, psychology brings this all together. Do you remember that we had this small question in our school exams where we had to name a concept that was described? It was called name the following. So there would be a description of the concept or description of a thing, and we had to name what it was. Our daily behavior is the description, and psychology does a beautiful job of naming these behaviors that we do in our day-to-day lives. Now let's start with one small concept. I'm going to tell you a small incident, and I'm going to give you 4 options that you would do in that particular incident. So you can tell me in the comments below which option you would choose, right? So let's say we are in the beginning phases of the lockdown, and like in March or April, where everything was uncertain. We didn't know what to do, how to do, what was going to be the cause of this pandemic. And amidst all of that worry, your friends calls you and says that, hey, listen, I'm feeling very, very worried. Everything is so uncertain that I don't know what to do. Everything seems like coming to an end, and every little thing that we do makes me very worried that have I done it right. Now, in this case, we know that we have to comfort the person. We know that we have to help them get out of what they are feeling, or we have to make them feel better. Where we will get stuck is how to do it, right? Like what to say, how to say it, using the correct words for it. Now I'll give you 4 options. The first option is you say to them that it's okay what you're feeling, but let's talk about this beautiful recipe that I cooked today. It turned out so perfect and so well, and I have been cooking a lot, so cooking is a nice thing, and you keep going on and on and on about cooking. The second thing that you could say is, you are the one who is overthinking. You are the one who is blowing things out of proportion. You are the one who is trying to make small problems big, and this is what is making you worry. The third option is that you tell them, it's really right. Every little thing is making us worry. And even I worry about that. Have I cleaned the objects that I've got from the store? Have I sanitized enough? Have I taken good precautions? Was I wearing the right kind of mask? Everything is making me worry. And you keep on discussing what makes you worry. Keep going back and forth between that. The fourth option is that you tell them that, I understand that you must be feeling very anxious. Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to tell me what has made you feel anxious recently? What has happened? Do you want to tell me? And then you listen to them, and then you try to find a solution for it. Now in the comments, you can think about the 4 options that I have said and tell me which option would you choose. Okay, Neeti says option 4. Anybody else? Okay, we have 3 people saying option 4. Anybody who thinks of any other option? Okay, we have 2 more people saying 4th. No option is right or wrong. You can pick anything. Does anyone want me to repeat the options? In the first one, you talk about your cooking. In the second one, you tell them how they are wrong. In the third one, you both discuss what worries you. And in the fourth option, you listen to them, you see what makes them worry, and you find a solution. Alright. So now I'll tell you why you have chosen the 4th option and what do we call all other options in psychology. So the first option, you don't pay attention to what the person is feeling. You don't talk about how they are worried. You just keep going on and on and on about your cooking that you were doing. This is what we call in psychology as apathy. No regard to the other person's feelings. The second option, where you blame them for what they have done or what they are feeling. That is what in psychology we call antipathy, criticizing them. Now, we are all humans. Sometimes we are not in the right state of mind to help the other person, or sometimes we don't know what to say. So there are a lot of times that unintentionally we end up using option 1 or 2 in our day-to-day communications. We don't mean to do it. We don't mean to make the other person feel bad, but we end up doing it. So that is what I would say unintentionally done. But if you want to maintain healthy relationships, if you want to have good relationships with people, it is the 4th option that, or the 3rd option, that it is the 4th option that you would choose and not the 1st, 2nd and 3rd. The 3rd option, where you keep talking about the things that worry you, and the 4th option, where you also talk about the things that are worrying the other people. they have one thing in common, right? You are addressing and you are listening to and understanding what the other person is feeling, what is making them worry. But there is a slight difference between the two. The third option, where you also start discussing the worry, there is a high possibility that at the end of the conversation, you would also end up feeling worried, and that person's worry would not decrease. Surely you will understand what the person is feeling, but there won't be a conclusion or a solution to it. This is called as sympathy. You are being sympathetic to somebody. You are understanding them, but you are not finding a solution to the situation. Now the fourth option is what we call as empathy. We keep hearing this word a lot, right? Like, people expect you to be empathetic towards them. You want people to be empathetic towards you. Empathy is what a lot of organizations also want you to do. Like, as an employee, they want you to be an empathetic employee. So what does empathy exactly entail? Empathy, firstly, is where you reflect the other person's feelings. So we have a dictionary called as thesaurus. It is a dictionary of synonyms. What you first do is find synonyms for what the other person is feeling. You tell them in your own words that you understand what they are feeling without saying I understand. I understand is a very organic way of saying something. It does not have the emotion. So in this example, worry can be troubled, bothered, anxious, and you can say to them that, right, I understand that you must be feeling troubled, you must be bothered. This is where you mirror the other person's emotions. There are a lot of people who have a very expressive face. Like, if they feel something, their eyes give it away or their face gives it away. They are mirroring the other person's emotions. This is what you do with your words when you are being empathetic. You mirror the person's emotion. Then the second part is where you listen to them, but you just don't have to listen, you have to be non-judgmental. You don't have to decide whether it is right or wrong to worry, whether it is right to worry about a certain situation or not right to worry about a certain situation. You just have to listen to them wholeheartedly without forming any judgments of anything. And then, after you have reflected your feelings, you have listened to them properly, you have to try and find a solution to what their problem is. It is not necessary that you find a big solution. It is the small solution that will make the person feel better. But what is important is that they know that they have somebody who would listen to them, who would not judge them and help them find a solution. I know it is easier said than done, having to consciously think of all of these things when you are being empathetic towards somebody. But I think it is an important skill that we need to practice to truly have very, very good and healthy relationships with other people. This is what is empathy. Now I will move on to the next concept. Does anyone have any doubts regarding empathy? Like, you can ask in the comments below. Alright, so for the next concept, I'll again narrate a small story and then I'll go on with the concept. So 2 years back, I was doing an internship at a school. Our job, like the group of my friends and I, our job was that we had to help the kids there. These kids were of first standard, second standard, third standard. So we had to help the kids there to cope up with a few academic things that they were having difficulty with. So we had to sort of make their concepts clear or get them to practice those things. Now we try to make the whole activity as fun as possible, and we came up with a game that if a child gets an answer right, they would have to hop on a tile on which the answer was written. And the child who got the most answers right in this hopping game would get a star. What happened 2-3 days later was that a kid came up to me and asked me that, Didi, if I get answers right again tomorrow, more answers right, will you give me a star? Now I just want you to think, right? The kid was interested in getting the answers right and also getting the star. There are many situations in our life where we get praised for something. We get some sort of good feedback from other people for doing something, right? Have there been any situations in your life where you can think of somebody has rewarded you, somebody has praised you for doing something? Okay, I'll give you a few examples. There are a lot of parents who tell their children to recite poems in front of guests, and then they give a chocolate to the kid for reciting a poem really well. When we help somebody, they praise us for helping them. If we perform well at our job, we get a bonus for it. There are primary school teachers who give stars to the kids for having neat and clean handwriting in their notebooks. Yeah, we get, like Shruti said, we get chocolate for good marks. All of this is what we call in psychology as positive reinforcement. It is a very simple concept that we all have experienced since childhood. What happens here is that we do something nice, we get praised for it. It makes us feel good that we are praised for doing something nice, and then we are more likely to repeat the action in the future. So this process of, there are certain things which makes you keep on good behaviors, which makes you keep repeating the good behaviors that you are doing, is called as positive reinforcements. And usually these come from other people. So in the example that I had given, the child was interested in getting the stars, but he realized that he had to get the answers right. The job that the star was doing was, it was motivating the child to do better in his studies. Sonia says that school stars and claps, and people who excel in certain extracurricular activities, they are in the assembly, all other kids clap for them. It makes them feel nice and they are motivated to keep on doing the activity. If we perform well at our job, the bonus that we get, it makes us perform better and better and better. If the parents give a chocolate for reciting a poem well in front of the guests, the child is going to keep reciting poems in front of people. So somebody here said that even a smile or nod sometimes works as positive reinforcement for it. Yes, it really does that. When you smile at somebody, it just shows that you are affectionate towards them, you are happy. So even a simple smile can go a long way. This is the power of positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement basically promotes good actions because of feedback from other people. Do you want to share any other examples anybody wants to share in the comment section? I had heard a saying in childhood that you should never be short on praising somebody. study psychology in my masters, I realized that it is such a beautiful saying that you should never be short on praising somebody, because this is the power of praise. It can go on, and it can keep the cycle of getting good behavior in the society in general. Now, there is a slight danger to positive reinforcement. Do you want me to wait till the 2-3 people join? There are people who are waiting to join. Should I wait for them for a couple of minutes? I'll just wait for a minute and then start. Okay, so one of my school teachers is here. Hello, Bhagwat ma'am. I saw her comment, but I forgot to her. She's been a great inspiration to me since school. So yeah, we were talking about how positive reinforcement can sometimes be slightly. Now what happens is, unintentionally, we sometimes end up reinforcing the wrong behavior. So for example, let's say we are in a group of friends and there's this one person who is mocking other people. And mocking can be fun, but if not done properly, it can hurt a lot of people. So let's say this person is mocking somebody to the point where it is hurting the other person, and the person's other friends are cheering them on. They are laughing, they are saying that, how smart comments you are making. Because the other people in the group are reacting positively towards that person's mocking, there is a chance this will happen that the person will tend to mock other people in other occasions, in other settings, and very unintentionally the behavior of mocking will get reinforced. So we have to be very cautious about whether we are reinforcing the right kind of behavior or the wrong kind of behavior in other people. Moving on to the next concept. We keep using the word motivated in our daily lives, right? We are motivated to take up something. We are very demotivated to sometimes do the chores. We are motivated to do the work that we have. We keep using this word motivation over and over and over again. There are certain activities that we do, or for these activities, we have the motivation from within. We feel, right, like I am doing this because I want to do it. Does anybody want to give an example of one such activity that they would do purely because they want to do it? Anything, it doesn't have to be big. Just something that you want to do because you purely want to do it. Exercise, yes. Play an instrument, yes. Anybody else? Physical exercise to maintain fitness, yes. anybody else, anything. It can really be anything. Eat, yeah, we do it because we want to. Alright, so even if you don't type in the comments, just think of an activity that you did purely because you wanted to do it. Did you expect anything from it? Listening to good music? Yes. In most of these cases, we don't expect anything out of that activity, right? Like singing a song while doing a chore, like she says. Do you expect any outcome? No, we just do it because we enthusiastically want to do it. There are instances where we have started writing a diary because we wanted to. Probably not followed it, but we started because we wanted to start. We start learning a new language. We start reading a book. We start watching a television series. Really anything. We join an NGO because we want to do it and we don't expect anything out of it. So this enthusiasm, this motivation that you have for doing these activities purely because you want to do it is called as intrinsic motivation in psychology. Oh, you need to breathe to stay alive. It is, you don't choose to do it, so it is an organic, it's all the same. You don't expect anything out of breathing, right? I'm sorry, I got a call here. So basically, the whole point of intrinsic motivation is that you don't expect any rewards or any sort of outcome or goal from that activity. You do it because you enjoy it. Now, there are other types of activities that you do to get something out of it. Any examples that you can think of? Like you want a reward or some sort of an outcome. You have an expectation from what the activity will lead to or what the activity will give you. Professional work, yes. We have a job because we want money from it. We have a salary, yes. Anything else that we do because we want something out of it? Studying to get marks, yes. Yeah, you can also study to impress the teachers, yes, or impress people around you. Studying for an exam for marks, yes. Helping in society matters. Day to day, yes. That is intrinsic motivation, right? You help because you want to, but not because you want to get something out of it. Or do you get anything out of it? All right. Networking to get business, yes. So this type of motivation that you have for an activity, that you do the activity because you want the outcome, you want that result, you want that reward, this type of motivation is called as extrinsic motivation. Like you pointed out, we work to get the salary, so that is extrinsic motivation for us. Wake up early to impress the family, so you want to impress. You don't want to wake up early because that makes you feel happy. You are extrinsically motivated to wake up in the morning. You can be extrinsically motivated to play an instrument, because once you start playing an instrument well, you get the praise. So slowly you will start playing the instrument for the praise that you get. So praise can be your extrinsic motivation. Marks are a very nice extrinsic motivation that we have been taught about since we are young, like study to get good marks, study to get good marks. So we are extrinsically motivated to study. So this distinction between whether you are intrinsically motivated or extrinsically motivated, I find can sometimes help you to get your motivation back when you lose some sort of a motivation. Now, like I said in the beginning, human behavior is a complex phenomenon. There are a lot of things that we do not because of purely intrinsic motivation or not because of purely extrinsic motivation. Both these motivations start working together, right? For example, I start reading a book. Initially, I do it because I want to do it. As I talk about the book among my friends start praising me for the knowledge that I have. So then my process slowly goes towards reading to impress other people or to get praise about my knowledge. We may start a job because we love it, but then we also start doing it because we get a salary out of it. So it is very possible that in human behavior, both these motivations can work together. And what is important here is that we realize which one is stronger motivation for us personally. And it can vary from activity to activity that we do. But sometimes when you realize that maybe your intrinsic motivation has gone down, if you realize that it is your intrinsic motivation that has gone down, you can get it back. Do something to get it back. This is about motivation. Does anyone have any questions or anything regarding intrinsic and extrinsic motivation? Oh, someone says they are feeling better. I'm really glad that you are feeling better now. So, okay. The last concept that I'm going to tell you about is a concept from a subfield of psychology called positive psychology. So positive psychology is a subject that essentially deals with how people remain mentally healthy and what makes people happy. So it is all about the positive thing, like the name suggests. So there is a beautiful concept in positive psychology called I'll answer that question later. So there is a beautiful concept in psychology called post-traumatic growth. Now, for the last few months, we have all faced a lot of difficulties in our lives. The way we live our life has changed, and the way we go around our daily activities have changed. We actually have faced a lot of problems on a lot of different fronts, and it has not been maybe the best experience. However, when you maybe after a few months look back on this whole experience that you had during these few months, if you reflect, you will realize that there were small things that you have done really well, or small things that you have actually done better than you used to before. So for example, maybe it has made you appreciate the importance of family time, and you have started incorporating family time in your daily schedules. Maybe you have realized how important is the domestic help that we get at our home, and you have started appreciating the person who is providing you that. Maybe you have realized the importance of what a lot of other people do to make us be in a situation where we are comfortable at our own homes. What a lot of frontline workers are doing for us, the service that they are doing for us at the cost of their own life. may have come to an appreciation of their service towards us. We may have learned to appreciate nature. We may have learned to appreciate the time or the care that we give for ourselves, self-care, spending time with yourself. Or we may have understood the importance of friends and having friends to talk to, the ability of going out. It can be anything, small or big. But when you get out of this situation and you realize that you have started appreciating something, maybe you have acquired a new skill, you have grown in any way, small, big, doesn't matter, but you have grown, you have become better than what you were before. Somebody said here in the comments that I have started counting my blessings and started appreciating the blessings that I got. You have gotten more grateful, right? Maybe it is at a feeling level, maybe it is at an emotional level, but anything that has made us grow, made us better than what we were before, as a result of a bad situation, is called post-traumatic growth. People don't necessarily have to suffer because of a bad situation. There are times when people can actually come out better, come out strong. We have the ability in us, and we have to appreciate that even if it is a small thing, we have come somewhere where we were not before. We have achieved something, and we have to give credit to ourselves for achieving that small thing. This concept of post-traumatic growth basically throws light on the fact that even the horriblest or the worst time can result in small good things, and we have to appreciate them, we have to recognize them, and we have to realize that sometimes bad things may have a good end. So post-traumatic growth, I feel, is an important concept that we need to know now, because few months down the line, maybe we all will be experiencing it some way or the other. And like Sonali Maushi said here, and Shailaja Maushi said, it will help us be more grateful to what we have. It will make us happier at the end of this whole situation. So to sum up, I hope that I have really I hope that I have conveyed how psychology is a part of our day-to-day life, how the small things that we do can be explained by psychology. I really feel that as a student of psychology, I feel that it is a science made out of observation, research, a lot of theories that have come out of lives of every single or all people on this planet. It does not pertain to a single section of the society, or it does not pertain only to mental illness. Psychology is relevant in all our daily activities, and I think that is one of the reasons that I love the subject and I appreciate the subject so much, that it has this potential of encompassing everything under the sky in under one umbrella term of psychology. It has no restrictions, no barriers as to what it can include. As new things keep happening, psychology keeps broadening. And once you start reading it, there are a lot of awe-striking theories that you find, and what makes it interesting. One other thing is that psychology is a science where 2 plus 2 may not always equal to 4, right? Something that works for me, that works for 9 other people, may not work for that one person. But this uncertainty is what is the beauty of the science of psychology. In a way, it literally encompasses everything, but at the same time, it relates to every single person on this planet, and it is individualistic in that way. So I would say that I hope that you have slightly gotten a better understanding of what psychology is, And now I'm going to answer a couple of questions that were there in the comment section before, and if you have any more questions you can write it in the comment section. Okay, one question was, which type of motivation can help do better work? So I would say that it really depends from person to person, like I said, and depends on the work, right? If you are not interested in a certain subject but you have to study for a short period of time, then the extrinsic motivation of getting good marks will help you. But if it is some other situation where intrinsic motivation is going to be integral part of how you do the uh, do the activity in a long term basis. For example, in a job, if you really like the job, you will be happier. So you'll if your intrinsic motivation is higher, you will be happier. So there is no set formula that this motivation is better or you should use this motivation for this sort of an activity. It's just that whichever motivation is working for you as a person with respect to the activity, use that. Okay, my camera has turned and I'm just trying to figure out how to reverse it. Just a minute. Camera reversal hai. Yeah. All right. Okay, we have a few questions here. Wait. Is sympathy less useful than empathy? So, yes, I would say, in sympathy, what happens is you end up feeling what the other person is feeling, but you don't necessarily find a solution for it, which may not be that helpful to the person who has come to you for help. So, I would say that yes, you have to be sympathetic to people to understand what they are feeling, but you have to take a step ahead and help them and be empathetic towards them. Okay. Huh. Okay, so another question here is that what are the causes of depression? One, I am just a student, so I am not at a position to talk about psychopathology or mental illness on a public forum, and causes of depression again can vary from person to person. So I would not generalize the causes of depression in on a public platform. Oh, just a comment. Yeah. Any other Any other questions, or should we end this session? All right. I don't think there are any more questions. I would like to thank Sonali Maushi and the other members of this page for giving me this opportunity to talk and convey about um, psychology and what it means to me. Oh, okay, wait. What are the job opportunities after studying clinical psychology? Uh, there are a lot of opportunities. You can teach, you can work in counseling settings, you can work in schools. The options are endless. You can go on exploring, and even with clinical psychology, literally there are hundreds of other things that you could do. These are just a few of them. And thank you so much for participating actively in this session, and thank you for being a great audience. Bye.